it's Appelusa here, and I'm very excited because I'm going to open my brand new package, Golden Horse skates. Super excited to add this addition and really try out these skates. I've been following this company for a while, and I really admired what they were doing. They make skates that are very close to what I currently skate in and what most all artistic roller skaters skate in, which are Adea and roll line packages. So this is what I got to coach in, and it's a Adea Classica boot, which is for dance skating, and not dance like funky, you know, groovy jam dance, but in a discipline of artistic roller figure skating dance, and a pretty entry-level roll line plate for figure skating. But I was just coaching in it, but you can do singles and doubles and many spins in that. So I wanted to try and get an actual dance skate, something I can skate outside in and just move and groove in. And so I been following this company, and I'm excited to try it out. What I grew up skating in were Snyder plates and Rydell boots, usually a 297, which I think these are. This is a old skater of mine that I was coaching, and she's selling these skates because she grew out of them. But this is a super deluxe plate. And I know Golden Horse Skates makes not only street skates, but they make figure skating skates. And so you can really get a wide range of skate packages for what you're looking for. Indoor wheels, outdoor wheels, and affordable. That's why I really like this company. Is I've been looking for an intermediate skate for a lot of my skaters for a long time, and there really wasn't anything between beginner skates and, you know, professional skates, which are really expensive. There was really nothing in between, and this company makes those. And I did already cut this open, and I'm going to slide this out. And here we go. This is an awesome looking box. Again, I love the roller figure skater on the front of this. I chose to get an upgraded version of the skate. I really wanted to try something that I could still do a lot of my tricks in, and it wasn't gonna hold me back. So I got an upgraded, this is still a basic, they recommend it for single jumps and axles. But this is a Street Noble, and I got the suede purple with glow wheels. So you can customize the color that you want, the wheels that you want, and they do have adjustable toe stops for doing a lot of the tricks that I show you on my tutorials. They do have that new skate smell. They look awesome. So I just want to discuss a little bit about what you would be getting. Oh yeah, oh my gosh. They're super cushy on the inside. I don't know if you could see this. Look at this. I'm gonna be like skating like a queen. So they have a leather upper and velour lining. It's gonna make it really cushy. So even just pressing in here, and you have another option. They do ask you quite a few questions when you order the skates. And this is another reason I love not only Adea, but Golden Horse Skates, is they size them to your foot. So you don't just order and hope for the best, because a lot of skate brands, you never know. They could be size too big, they could be a size too small. They're not exactly shoe size. But Golden Horse Skates, what they do is they have you send pictures of your foot with a ruler from various angles, so they make sure they fit. They also ask you several questions along with that. Do you like your skates to have a little more room? Do you like them pretty snug? Are you flat-footed? Do you want a normal tongue or more of a stiff tongue? And that's awesome. So you know that they're gonna fit when you get them, and they're gonna fit the way that you like them. So I'm already pressing in here, and I could feel that it's a firm tongue. That's what I asked for. And this is a pretty stiff boot. So I'm going to squeeze in here, and it's really not going anywhere. There will be a little bit of a break-in period, but it's really gonna be supportive. And that's because they're expecting people might be doing single axles or single jumps in these, or some spins where you really need that ankle support. So they rate this a 40 on hardness. You can see with a 297, it's pretty flexible. I can really move it around and move the tongue around. And with the Classicas, maybe somewhere in between. This is a lower boot, and you do want some ankle movement in a dance skate in particular. But this is going to be pretty darn hard. It's going to be the toughest boot I've ever skated in. I want to say it does feel like a 220 Rydell, if you would be familiar with that. If you're not looking for to be able to do a lot of tricks, and tricks I mean maybe like single jumps and 1 foot spin, outer edge spin, spins on 1 foot, you may not need something as hard as this. You may want to do more of the street magic. If you do want to do jumps and spins on 1 foot and maybe like camel spins going towards that direction, I would recommend upgrading to something like this. Okay, so here's an update after I've skated on these quite a few times. The hardness is more like an ice boot. So even though they're recommended for single jumps and single axles, I would definitely recommend this boot if you're doing axles or probably even double jumps, camel spins, and things like that. Personally, myself, I would probably recommend the Vegan or the Street Magic if you even want to do tricks such as 1 foot spins and simple tricks that aren't getting into some heavy roller figure skating items. The plate, however, is excellent. I'm super impressed with the plate. It does have a lot of maneuverability. I can do all the same tricks that I did before, as well as figure skating spins. So if you're looking for an upgraded plate, I would highly recommend this plate. I do still have to try the Street Magic with the 360-degree pivot, so I'll be updating a video then. So what else comes in the box? So you have a couple of tools. You have a tool to adjust the action. So all you would do is work on this little gold nut right here, and there's a number system on there so you can kind of keep track. I would honestly put these on first and do a little action check. So I'll do that when I put them on and see where they're at first. So it might take me a couple of rotations. I do 1 click at a time and feel them, do another click, feel them. You usually do the front and the back. Sometimes you might want the front a little looser than the back. It depends on what you're doing. Everyone's a little different. I would do the slalom check and see how they feel for you. So that would be this tool. You also have a toe stop tool, and there's a little bit of a difference between the toe stop adjustment for the Street Noble versus the Street Magic. This would have this Allen wrench to adjust, and there would be a nut here on the Street Magic which you would want to adjust there. So you can loosen this lefty-loosey. I would loosen it a lot, and you can lower the toe stop and then tighten back up. If your toe stops ever become loose, never just rotate them with your hand and say, okay, now they're good. That won't work. And always do a skate check before you skate on them and see, make sure all the wheels are on there. But they also might need to be loosened a little bit, the nut off the bearing, if they're not rolling quite as long as you would like them to. So it might need a little bit of adjustment there to get the wheels, yep, see, rolling a little bit more. Right there, you just see that just a little bit of a turn will get those wheels rolling more. And then you also are going to have this other Allen wrench. That's going to be for the bottom of the plate. I don't really ever need to adjust that. So I can make a whole nother video on the details of adjusting, but we're going to hold off on that, and I'm going to use the bigger one to adjust this nut here, the lock nut. One thing is pretty cool that I've not seen with another skate company is if you do upgrade to the Street Noble, they give you cushions of various hardnesses so that you can try them out. It's gonna make maneuvering feel very different. They might be too hard or too soft, and you kind of have to be like Goldilocks and find what's just right. You won't have the options with the Street Magic. So the next thing I want to do is just see kind of how they fit on my foot, see if they fit and how tall they are in comparison to some of the other skates that I have here. Now, one thing about the Classica is because they are a dance boot, Dance skaters bend their knees a lot, so they need this tongue to be able to bend. And it is pretty low cut, so just a side by side comparison here. The tongue is higher on my Idea, and it is a lot more flexible. It is a pretty tough tongue on the Street Nobles. But the back of the skate is almost identical. It's a little bit taller on the Street Noble, but not by much. The width is a little bit bigger on the, wider on the Street Nobles. And I have a pretty narrow foot. So I will have to see how I feel about the width on these, but they do measure, have you send in your measurements. So I'm gonna trust that this is gonna be a good width for my foot. And the more I break them in, the more they will mold to my foot, as the Ideas probably have by now, because I've had them for quite a few years. So, but with the 297 Rydels, the back is taller, and so is the tongue. So I would say the Rydel boot has a little bit more lift on the top of the ankle. So actually they have quite a bit of give. Surprisingly, I am able to press quite an edge without having to have adjusted them. So I'm going to take them out, see how they feel for me before adjusting them any further. Oh, I am so excited to try these out. So that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed this unboxing of Golden Horse skates, the Street Noble. I can't wait to try these out. Stay tuned and we'll see how they feel. All right, so I got my skates on and I did a few laps around, and this is how I feel about it. I'm actually super impressed that they fit pretty darn well. I asked for a little room in my toes, but I like it snug around the rest of my foot. Answering some of the preemptive questions, and I do have room in my toes. And my foot is pretty narrow, and it feels like my foot's staying in there really well. I did find that they were actually quite looser action-wise than I anticipated. So I tightened them up, but I also think that the cushions might be a little bit too soft for me. So I'm gonna try some of the other cushions, because I tightened them up pretty a lot. But I do a lot of edges, I do a lot of pressing, and so I personally would like to try a little bit harder of a cushion, so I'll have to get those changed out. The boot is very firm. It's a lot firmer than I'm used to, and that's because I grew up with a 297 and I showed you it's pretty flexible. But I really wanted a more supportive boot, because I think having such a flexible boot growing up, my ankles are pretty weak. So I wanted to try something harder, but what I was noticing is they are so firm around the outside, I had a hard time crossing over. Maybe they will break in. It might take a couple months. I'll have to do a follow-up video after a few months of trying to break them in and let you know how that goes. These are outdoor wheels and they are glow wheels, so I'm excited to see what they look like at night. And the toe stops are awesome. They feel really comfortable, besides the fact that this outside right here is pretty firm on both sides right here. Besides that fact, they are really comfortable and they feel really good skating. So let's do a little bit of test.